What's up, everybody? Bueller here again, and today I'm going to be doing trade floor tickers number 5. So we've done about over a month now, so this will be our first episode going into our second month on this series. So if you guys like this, please go check out the other series. I'm going to make a playlist now in the playlist section of the channel, so it'll be a little more organized. But let's get right into this. If you guys aren't familiar with the series, please start with the first few, and you can kind of catch on to the idea of what we do here. But we pretty much just use the technical analysis routine. I'll leave a link to that playlist in the bio of this video. But what we do is we break down just the charts, we create trade plans, and then we set it up for the next day. So going into tomorrow, the only extra levels I really should be adding are my pre-market high, pre-market low, previous day high, previous day low. And this is just to get a good picture of the bigger time frame analysis, but then 2, gives you plenty of levels to day trade with on your smaller time frame. So let's just go ahead and get into this on AES. So what I like to do is step 1, I like to get the top of my range just so I have a good top of it and a good bottom side of my range. So I know I have a good starting point. I want to get a good resistance turn support, so that'll give me a good bottom side of the range. I can see there's actually a pretty strong one right here. Resistance, price broke out, retested it, moved higher, and then later on you can see we're testing on it right now. So 2350 is a pretty big support, so we're going to leave that marked. Looks like a break under 2350. You can definitely assume 2315 and 2285s. I'm also going to mark my emerging candle over here, emerging candles. Get that gap range. And it looks like I have almost everything I need right there. Looks like a level right there of support, turn resistance. So that 2462 is another very strong level. So 2462 looks like a really, really good break above level. And I didn't even have to go down to the smaller time frame to do that. Very nice. Not every time you will. But just by going through the daily time frame and emerging candles using my price history from the left side to the right side, I found a lot of really, really good levels. So now I know there's a really good level that turns support, turn resistance right here at 2465-ish area. So a good break above that, we're looking good. That's a really good first target too. I'm just marking them because those are very important levels. But you can play break above 2430 if you wanted to. Target that 2460. So AES is actually giving you tons of very solid levels, and I didn't even really have to go down to the smaller time frame. But let's see. So AMD, I did do this one last week. If you guys are not familiar with what I'm about to go through on AMD, please go back to week number 4. I'm pretty sure I covered AMD very heavily, and it did move out of our range and do really good. It just took a couple days. Going into that week, we were looking for super good bullish movement, but we needed some reset candles. We ended up getting 3 in a row before the next bullish breakout. So actually, I really like where AMD is. But let's get our levels going. So I want to get a good resistance over here from past price history in which we broke out above. And then I want to start marking my emerging candles. Oops. Tops of my buyers. It's pretty much what I'm marking left to right. Get that gap range. And then the top. So we have almost every level we need right there. Let's see. So yeah, we have this small gap range that's already been filled once/twice. So you could say it's been filled. But it looks like this tiny area here is going to be a really, really good break above though too. So we actually, besides playing the previous day high, previous day, whatever pre-market high, we can also look to play above 112.50s with a really good first target at 114. So we already have a really good break above playing here on the daily on AMD as well. This one's not hard to cover because a lot of the levels are kind of exposed up here, so it's just kind of breaking it down. But once you do get down to the smaller time frames, you're going to want to mark this level here because that's your previous day, or will be your previous day high. You're going to want to mark this level here because this is a really good support in which price held on. That'll be a really good break below. This emerging candle, and then this day over here. So now you have everything you need for smaller ranges. So it looks like once you get above 112, pretty much what we were saying earlier, you can target that 112.50, which is from that bigger gap range. And then above that, you can target that 113, 114, and so on and so on. But think about downside too. Don't just plan for one side. What about if it breaks lower? Let's say it ends up breaking under 110.50s or 110.30s. It's going to be a really good break below with the first initial target of this really, really good level here at 109.65 and 108.75. So you already have a really good trade plan going into tomorrow on AMD, which if you want to play that one, I would watch NVIDIA, but as well as SOXX. SOXX is a really good ETF I like to watch. But pretty much last week what I was covering is I was looking for this to break out. We ended up getting reset candles just like that AMD chart, and you could see SOXX ended up breaking higher. So I'm actually super bullish on semiconductors going into this week. So if you want to, focus on those for more continuation, look above those previous day highs and pre-market highs going into tomorrow. But we'll get into it. We're going to do NVIDIA after this one. Well, actually, we'll just cover it now since we're here. So we already have our plan for AMD. Let's go ahead. And we already have our overall larger analysis now, too. Now you've looked at the overall semiconductor sector and going, okay, I am looking for bullish continuation. Still plan for both sides, but, now you kind of have some good sentiment to look forward to. Mark that emerging candle, emerging candle, emerging. And then, like I said, going into tomorrow, mark your previous day high, mark your pre-market high, and those are going to be really good break above. So pretty much same analysis as AMD on that one. Pretty much easy on that one, as well as me covering them last week. We also covered airlines last week, so if you want to go back to that video, huge update. I'm also going to be trying to update more, sector analysis, but right now I'm working on a really, really big video for the workshop number 6 or number whatever. But it's going to be covering all this sector, the 11 sectors of the market. I'm going to break down what they are, what top stocks in them, how you can see money shifting around. So going to go through all that, of course, in the next workshop. But let's move on to the next one. So here we have NEO. Emerging candle turn support, huge bottom side of the range. Let's mark this top side here. And then let's focus, like I like to do, on just this price action moving up. As you can see in all my videos, I've been rocking this 9 for a little over almost 2 months now. Most likely going to be keeping it. I said I was going to be testing it for about a month, and I think I will be keeping it. So if you want to go ahead and put that on alongside with my analysis, please do so. But it's pretty much the 8 or the 9 is what people are doing in my chat. I really like the 9 because I can use it on both bigger and smaller time frame for very high probability. If you'd like to check out the Beyond video and all the other videos I talked about the 9 in, please check back. It's like 2 or 3 videos back, but it covers a little more. So what I'm doing here is I'm marking emerging candles as price is going up from the left to right. Don't need it anymore. Of course, you don't need all these lines. If you wanted to, you could just focus on where current price is. I'm just trying to give you all a pretty good, basic example of what we're looking for here. So now that we have all those levels marked, let's see what's over here. We have a good pop-up. Let's mark some more levels here. Good gap range that's never been filled. I'm sorry, it has been filled once. Another gap down. All right, so we have pretty much all the levels we need. Another couple things we can note is a good support from recent price action about here, but then also you have this gap range here that hasn't been filled yet. So we do have a really good gap filled play to look forward to right there. Pretty much above 40 to 41. Above 41, you can expect 42.30s, 42 flat. So I'd be looking for these levels right here for a good break above on NEO. Keep those set. Again, throw these on your chart. Don't just watch this video, ignore it, and then forget about it tomorrow. Throw these on your chart. Don't be lazy. Hold yourself accountable. What's a good break below? What would you guys say is a good break below? I really like this 37.80s on the bigger time frames, but of course, once we get down to our smaller time frames, we're adding our pre-market high, pre-market low, previous day high, low, previous close, all that good stuff. You're going to have a lot more better picture on this. Right now, what we're doing is getting a good picture on where prices and why we think this would be good on a watch list. Okay, so good gap fill potential play here and good base support break here. I would also be looking at this angle. No, this is not where you should draw. You should not draw this right now. That's not a good line. But wait till a little more price action presents itself here, and we can get a little bit more, stronger trend line drawn here. There's really nothing to grab off of yet. A lot of the time when we look for trend change plays, we look for this to break, and then we look for a higher low. So if this ever drops and then makes a low like right here, we can form this angle. Right now, we don't have that angle to look forward to, so we need more price action on NEO. But I do like those bigger time frame levels. Again, this is to help you picture bigger time frame to smaller time frame. Right now, you're just preparing yourself. All right, so I'm going to mark this resistance on that emerging candle. Let's focus on this side now. Just marking the tops of on buyers, marking my gap range, top of the buyer, top of the buyer. So we have all our pretty much super important levels here for Apple. Another big thing to watch with this, and I just posted this in chat on Twitter and on Instagram, posted this everywhere, is my XLK chart. I was saying XLK, the tech sector, is looking to move up, which I'll cover this in my next video that I'm going to put up today, but definitely be on the lookout for that. But let's get back to Apple. Another cool trend line we can draw here is about right here. You can also adjust this on the 4 hour like I'm about to do, just to make it a little more cleaner. I like to get my ugly lines on the daily, and then I come back down here and I make them a lot cleaner, because you see right there, we are holding on a very, very important trend line. There's also another very important one right here. So an upward channel on supports, almost a rising wedge it looks like, but I'm going to just say it's an upward channel. But back to the time frame analysis, where do we see this breaking up at? Where do we like this for more bullish momentum? Not just anywhere. What's your important level you want to look out for? Right here, 149.25. So you're going to want to look above 149.25 for a further break above to the 151s. What do you want to look for a further break below? This is the major support. This is the most important support right now. So if it ever breaks 144.70s, yes, you start shorting it. But you can look to there for a support catch if it ends up falling again, kind of like right here where it made this, 1, 2, 3, fourth higher low. Now we're making a fifth. So rule of 5, where do you see this going? It's either above 149.25 to the 151s, or you're going to be looking below, which I want to say a squeeze inside of here, but I'm going to grab this common support. Why I'm saying this because you got a good resistance, sat on top of it, you had that gap down, price recovered above it. But this is the level, 146.80. So below 146.80, you can target that major support. Okay, but until that major support is gone, you don't just start shorting heavily, okay? But that's what we're going to be looking at for Apple. That's going to be huge on the market. Another top market weight is Microsoft right here. Again, we just, back to back, we're going through the top 2 weights in the entire market. So realize that, know some of these notable facts about different stocks and sectors. You should know almost in order what sectors are the largest. You don't need to know them 100%. But you do need to know some of their top weights. You need to know some of their, the news that's going on around them, what stocks are in each of those sectors. So be aware. Being aware is a huge thing. Let's see here on Microsoft. Pretty easy one again because all the levels are exposed. I'm going to draw this good resistance here that price held, not just broke above, but then held. You could see from a day trader point of view, when we look at the BB system, this is a 40% entry, 80% entry. So I see 2 really good opportunities there just to mark levels on. It's not really to trade per se, but just to mark levels on. So let's mark these emergings. Mark that gap range, and we'll mark this common resistance. Close enough. So another thing to note here, and again, this is what I'm talking about, just noting things on the chart. It isn't always about, is this a buy or is this a sell? It's not always, is it a buy or is this a sell? It's just analyzing the chart, just what's on the chart. Okay, well, after we had this breakup, seller decrease, and then we had our bullish engulfing pop up, we ended up getting a gap buy reaction through those levels, very good, strong buyer reaction. And then you had the lowering volume again, average, lower than relative volume, down to my 9 as well as that gap fill. So this is almost looking like a bullish continuation again, kind of like that Apple chart where it's kind of pushing up, and kind of like that XLK chart where you see it pushing up and holding above that high with rising volume. I see the same thing here with Microsoft. I almost said McDonald's. With Microsoft, I see them holding a very good level. So what am I going to plan out? Very good break above, pretty much above 300 is what I'm going to be looking at, or below. This low right here, of course, to this level. If, let's say, tomorrow gaps down and we're above this level, this would be your major level to look forward to. Kind of like on the Apple chart, I was pointing out to you what the more important levels were, and then also the other trading opportunities. So yes, you would want to wait till it breaks 296.80s to short this further. But if it ends up breaking, this previous day low, this is going to be looking for a really, really good major target for this level. So just a couple good things to kind of point out from bigger and smaller time frame. Let's look at Netflix now. And again, these are all tickers that my chat chose out each week. I try to choose at least 10, close to 15, somewhere in there. But hopefully this video won't be too long. Let's mark a couple of emerging candles in the area. And again, every time I'm not going to mark every single level. So I'm sorry that I don't start, far bottom left every single time. But I see prices up here at 559. I'm not going to waste my time down here, okay? It is very smart to point out what the important levels are because, yes, this is a strong resistance, turn, support. So, yeah, 471 is probably one of the most important levels on this chart. But we're not near there, so I'm not worried about that right now. So what important levels am I worried about around current price right now? 565. You have the start of this gap range, but also where we had the start of this resistance. It's been tested multiple times. So it looks like above 565, we really start to get busy with Netflix. Another chart that is presenting more bullish continuation looks to it. You have your push up, your slowdown, lowering volume, and then the breakout. So this is looking good. We're either looking for gap up through these levels, we're looking for bullish continuation, we're looking for a reset candle, and then some bullish continuation. But this is putting us in a really good position in the overall market. So what are the levels, guys, that you would mark for a good break above and break below just off of the couple ones that I marked just now, off of these emerging candles and, the different levels around? Before I answer, just giving you a couple seconds, I would set a really, really good break above. And again, this is besides, adding on your previous day high, low, your your BB system. Forget all about that. You are still going to add that into the next day. Don't forget about it. But for now, you're just going over the bigger time frame. You just want to see what's going on. Very heavy resistance against this 557. Price needs to not just, break above that level. It needs to hold this level. We're already above it. It needs to hold above 557. If not, this does look good for a short-term retracement. You have not just this shoulder to look out for, but the other bigger time frame levels that you just saw me mark. So that would look really good if price doesn't hold. Okay, now what's a really good break above if price does hold? Not only just this high, but this 565. Because that is the level in which we fell from and rejected multiple times. So that looks like a really, really good level, which can lead us to a very big jump in Netflix. Let's go to Facebook. Pretty easy on this one too, just because the levels are exposed, everything's up here. First thing I like to do is I like to grab, the resistance turn support so I can get a good shoulder. So I like this level here at 355.70, good resistance here. And you can see price gapped up, came back down, held around there, And then this is what I was talking about earlier with that trend change making that low and then the higher low. You have that low and then your higher low. So this is about the new angle you're kind of looking at. Whoops, I don't know why it's not drawing. So that's kind of the new angle you're looking at for, your new trend line. So you want to see that hold. But also, what are your other emerging candles showing you? You have a very strong level here at 370s that price just broke above, kind of like that XLK chart. It's breaking up into a new high. So what is a very strong level Facebook needs to break above? I would say, one, it needs to break above 372.50 because you have this very strong rejection here. And then note these levels. It'd be very smart to note where price closed right here, and then also the all-time high, 377.55. So have them marked so you have them noted. You don't have to actually have, a plan for that. But what I'm looking would be above this 373.75, the previous day high. So we have to just straight up BB system that one over the previous day high. Looks like you have a very strong level here in which price rejected, kind of range traded, held my 9, and then pushing up the rest of the day. So 370 is a really good level if whatever pre-market low doesn't end up holding. So you have really good targets below and above to look forward to. So even at all-time highs, these really aren't that hard to chart. You shouldn't find a struggle in something that is near all-time high. If anything, what levels? And again, answer this in the comment section. What levels are you looking for above this all-time high resistance? All my chat knows that answer. Please answer below. Help people out. But let's see here on Daku. Next one. I skipped NVIDIA because we already kind of looked at it. Just back that out, see if I have everything. Let's get this good resistance right here. You can see good strong resistance, turn support. Very smart level to add. Let's go over to the 6 month just because we don't need to have all that. Let's mark the top of our range so we know above 309s. Price looks good for just free headroom. There's nothing above it. Let's mark a couple emerging candles that are very important. So we have a good resistance here, turns support. So that's a very good level to mark. Looks like 289 and 309 is about our main range right now with a good solid support at 269. Let's mark emerging candles now. So it looks like above this little area here, and a lot of you guys always ask me, can you explain supply and demand? Every time I mark some of these lines, I am. Okay, so if you ever have a level up here, there's very high levels of supply up here. If you have a, rejection and then it moves up down, there's a high level of demand right here. There's a lot of demand right here. There's a lot of supply right here. Okay, so this is the basics of supply and demand. You were just marking them through the tops of your buyers. I'm just not marking a bunch of colored boxes because it is kind of blinding to a lot of people. But I had a few of you ask me about that this weekend, so I just wanted to kind of break that down real quick. But that's basically what I am marking is supply and demand. So the important levels is pretty much what I'm covering. But then we go through and we break down the emerging candles. We add on extra levels for day trading. I'm going to add this level here too because that's kind of like a morning star hookup for kind of push down again. So I'm going to keep that 292 marked. But regardless, what's a really good break above? This area right here. So it looks like on Daku, above the 301.30s to 303s, we can look for a better break above to the 305s, 308s. What's a good break below plan? Going to get the control point. Or no, wait, I'm sorry. I almost grabbed the wrong line. I want to get this candle's midpoint is what I was trying to do. My apologies. That's a very good support. So it looks like under 296.50s, which is end up being where the 9 pulls up tomorrow if we do have a green day. This looks like a good potential break below. So the midpoint of that range, we have a good target below here in the support, and then also that main level. So we have tons of levels to look forward to, not counting the smaller time frame. So again, when you have all those levels, yes, it seems clustered, but you go down to this time frame and you're like, okay, this is actually amazing. Because now you're looking at this like, okay, well, this is clearly my break above. You could adjust this if you need to. It's a little off, but you see you have a clear level of resistance you need to break above for further bullish price action. So let's say this is where pre-market low ends up tomorrow, right? What is a really good first target? Why would you ignore the big level you just took time in marking? So that is going to be your main target, which also awesomely lines up with your previous day low. So that's already where you should have a level, regardless of it being from the TA routine or not. So hopefully that is helpful for you guys. Let's get into the last 4 here. Hopefully I'm not taking too long. So I know I've covered Roblox a lot, so I'm going to be very quick with this one, but please go back to the past videos. Don't keep ignoring those videos. Go back to I don't care if you like them or not. Like them with your account. Can you please go back and at least view them so you see the TA that I marked up, in weeks in advance before a lot of this is happening. So it's not even just for setting alerts. It's really good just to see that stuff you could see, before all of this happened, you'd see me chart Roblox. Now that a lot more has happened, I'm going to be doing more monitor analysis than anything. We've kind of had our trend change break and we're moving higher. What am I looking at now? I'm looking for my next shoulder to hold. This is my next shoulder. Price has already done its little rounding here. It's got a little cup and handle kind of going for it, really. So I am expecting breakout on this as it holds the 85s. So I expect bullish price action on Roblox going ahead, but I'm not going to be biased. What are we going to look forward to on this? Pretty much as it holds 85.50s, I'm going to be targeting the 89. Going to be moving above its previous day high, of course, for day trade. So 86.75 is going to be a really, really good break above. But what's a really good break below? This same common area. I really don't need to mark another level right there. Let's see if I can get another support here. Ooh, there's a level right there. You can see there's a good resistance right here. Breakout, retest, retest, support hold, fell through, rejected this area. So yeah, under the, what is this, 84.80s, which I'll edit this a little bit, 84.75 is a really good break below. So without, again, adding our smaller time frame price action, that is going to be where I'm looking. But just from bigger time frame analysis, I do like this for bullish continuation. Main level I'm going to be watching, again, you heard me talk about that low. That higher low is going to be that more passive angle. There is a passive trend line here that you have to watch. Sorry for all the lines. Last three, we got Shack, ATVI, and Beyond. Mark this resistance over here. I see there's a very strong level of resistance, support, turn support. So it's a very, very good range we have now. And again, left to right price action. Why would I ignore it? I'm going to mark all these emerging candles and give myself the best levels without really having to try. I'm also going to mark this candle's midpoint because that's huge. Emerging candle, and there we go. I should be able to zoom in over here and see price. I already have most of the levels I needed. See, there's a couple over here that I need to add, of course, for the downside, but for the most part, we got everything we needed over here. You could see price use these levels from that left side. Moved up, kind of held that bull flag, moved up, hit resistance, held with that hook, moved back up above the 9, hit this as resistance. So very strong resistance at 105s, very heavy supports here around where current price is, really. So bigger levels here. What are we looking for? Above 88.60s, you have targets to 90, 91.60s, and so on. Below, I'd be looking below 84.75 and below this pattern. Don't ignore this pattern. So if you are going to play this for a break below under 84.75, that 83.60 is going to be huge. But again, guys, don't make this seem harder than it actually is. You're just marking your TA routine. This is not, some crazy new technique I came up with. It's the same TA routine. Again, just keep marking those emerging candles, the tops of your buyers, your gap ranges. Go left to right. Utilize your price history. And again, don't just mark things up and ignore it. Go back and look at it like I have been. What is price doing to each level? Actually kind of talk through it with yourself. Another big thing too that's really easy that I teach my chat is these trend changes. Seeing these common levels right here. So just mark you some trend lines. Go off of candlestick patterns if that's the route you want to go as well. You should always be seeing bearish, bullish price action. Bullish, bearish, semi-bullish. Again, it breaking down, not holding the 9, but still end up giving it a good buy reaction. You're getting kind of a hook pattern down here, and now price is trying to build back up, back towards the top of that channel. So price is just bouncing up and down in between that channel. You just have to kind of monitor it now. So please refer to my other swing trading and candlestick pattern videos too if you want to get a little more of that kind of price action. But let's get into ATVI. So I see a good common resistance right here. Another one here. And another there. So I see all that. Let's zoom in over here. Emerging candle. Whoops. Another emerging candle. Gap range. Emerging. Good common resistance there too. Looks like we have a lot of the levels we need in that area. Yep. So, big important levels. We know this is the out of the range. The top of the range where price should start breaking higher if it holds above. And we have a good bottom of our range now, right? With other good common levels from that left side of the chart. What else can you watch on this? Your trend lines, just like I covered on that other chart. So like I said, grab you some ugly lines. Go on the daily, mark you some good, just around the range kind of levels, and then go down to the 4 hour. And you can adjust them a little better. So you can see how my lines were way off. There's a better line there. And then let's go from here to here. So you could see ATVI is squeezing very hard while also convert. So what is a squeeze? A lot of people ask me that. A squeeze is just where when price converges its highs and lows into a corner. So that's kind of what you're looking at here. A lot of the time you end up getting rising wedges, falling wedges, these different patterns, but all initially they are all doing the same thing, converging their highs and lows into one point, forming that little apex. So what you're looking for is a breakout not only of this apex, of this squeeze, but also of important levels outside of this squeeze. So you'd be looking for a good break above of not just that yellow line, but also 82.65, 83.55. If downside, let's say it was bearish, it ends up breaking not just that squeeze, but 80.64. That's looking a lot better towards this big level here. So very high probability trade between here and here. Very, very high probability. So that's what you're going to be looking at. But let's look at beyond now. Last one. So I always start on this left side here. I like to grab this gap range because it's huge. Very, very important. It's been utilized throughout Beyond's entire life. Now let's find another couple levels here. So nothing to really mark on the drop. Let's mark this important emerging candle. Let's mark this important resistance. Keep scrolling over to the right. And then now you're focused on about the last, half a year of price action. So let's mark another couple of emerging candles that I didn't have marked. Got one there, one there. Looks like that's almost everything we need. And now let's just look at the price action. Break it down. What is price done in between these levels? What trend change do you have here? You have price breaking down, and you kind of got this angle here. So you're kind of looking at that and that. You do have a downtrend channel. Slight falling wedge, you could even say, which is good. You could see as prices, picked up since price, the volume picked up. Prices really just maintained volume at a relatively lower area. You can see so ever since this bigger breakout, it really hasn't had a whole lot of volume. So you're going to be looking for not just a spike volume spike, but you're also going to be looking above certain levels. Kind of like what I was saying with that squeeze. You're not just looking outside of that squeeze. You want to look at important levels outside of the squeeze as well. So you have double confirmation. That it's going to definitely go up a lot more or a lot further down. So, of course, trend is your friend in these scenarios. But what can we say just from this chart? We know that Beyond has a very, very strong level at 117. We know there's a very strong resistance at 125. So we have our range. Now we just need to plan in between that range. What is price done inside that range? Okay, so since starting this, drop down, you end up getting a morning star type look. Failed to push higher, evening star. Bullish engulfing. Then you end up getting a dark cloud cover, continuation, close into the 9. Price ends up cascading down, holding an inside day. Gap up, so you got that kind of like hook look to it, but not very strong. So now we know the levels to now play are going to be this level of support here. So it looks like below 120.50, we can target that 117s. Above 125, we have a very close target at 126.75, but above this little area here, and again, that's why you can just draw those ranges. I don't like to draw those boxes all the time, is you have a very good area of supply here. So if price was to get above this and hold, you can look for the 130s. You can expect a higher buy reaction back to the inside peaks here. Again, what do we look at when we look at trend change analysis? If you haven't watched that video, go watch that video. What are the bigger areas we are looking at when price breaks out of its trend change, no matter what kind of squeeze? Those inside shoulders. So that lines up right with that level that we're looking at. So that is a very, very strong trade plan. But please leave a like and comment on this video, guys. If this helps you out, if you want to see more of these, please let me know. But I'm going to go ahead and jump into that other video. Thank you.